All right. So last but not least, we gotta talk about the latest movie from we boy by Steven Spielberg,
Yeah.
The Post. So before you get into review, because well, I want you to talk about it. Um, the thing is, what makes this show interesting is that, from what I've heard, he actually made this during the post production of Ready Player One.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened? I assume is that he got a hold of the script and he was just so like to me like he felt like it was just something that he had to make.
Right.
And while post production on Ready Player One was going on, he just said, "Well, you know what? Let me just knock this off. Let me see what I could do. Let me just get some heavy hitters,
Right.
some TV stars, quite a lot of TV stars in this. I'll say that one
Yeah.
time.
This have a lot
Wow,
of character actors in it.
where boy, like that man was just like binging a set of AMC and Netflix shows. Like, hey, I like this actor. I
HBO.
want you. I want actor. I saw you that
Yeah.
HBO show. I saw you that FX show. I want you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
And I'm
yeah,
like what? Yes. What? 4 or 5 off the top of my head is like what is Sarah
yeah,
Paulson,
Sarah Paulson, Bob
Bob Odenkirk,
Odenkirk, Alison
Alfred
Brie is in this show.
Brooker, McGill
um,
Carey Coon,
yeah, Jesse Plemons was in this. I was like,
Jerry
what are
Clemens
you
is in
doing in
it.
this show?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This fella, well, you have Bob Odenkirk, but another classic Mr. Show alumni, David Cross.
Yeah, see this too.
Yeah.
Like, what?
David Cross was in this, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and but yeah, but he, and of course, well, Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks are in this as
Right, the
well.
big stuff. That's
Yeah,
a big gun.
yeah,
Yeah, this was I wouldn't go as far as saying it's British Spies all over again, but it had a vibe-ish to it. The idea of okay, so you
yeah,
have serious period in history, Spielberg style to it. Um, it was shot a lot flatter than I expected it, given
yeah.
Spielberg.
Now I wonder if it had to do with the fact that he just kind of, I don't want to say cobbled this thing, like how the decision to make something like this, that like he just got
Right,
this thing and he just kind of shut it, or I don't know, maybe that was the point. I don't know.
right.
Maybe he was rushing for an Academy Award. You'll talk about that in a bit, but I don't know. But you just want
Right.
to jump into
Yeah.
so
So a lot of people accuse it of being Oscar bait. I
boy.
wouldn't be that. I wouldn't be that uncharitable, but it have a lot of Oscar baitiness about it.
Yeah, but then again,
Right.
it's Steven Spielberg, so you can kind of expect that. Although I do, well, I'm hoping that we don't really quite get that with Ready Player One. I'm expecting this thing to be as over the top and insane as it is, but just mature enough from, well, mature as in Steven Spielberg mature, and fun as well, but not Oscar Beatty, like we have to stop and bring this one character and have John Williams do a score here and you know remind us, oh well, this is a Steven Spielberg film here. You know what I mean? But what would I say here before we jump in? Well, before you do the actual review here, well, sorry, the synopsis. Um, I realize like in this period of his career, with the exception of Ready Player One, I find that Spielberg doing like this is the best way I could describe his films. He does these films that you could watch literally like on a Sunday afternoon. Like you have your food, you sit down there,
Yeah.
you're on your couch, your recliner, you kick back, you relax. You don't really think too much about what's going on, but you just let the movie kind of, you just enjoy the experience of watching the film. It's one of those kind of laid back kind of films. It reminds me of like what the kind of film, like the style of films Clint Eastwood makes. By the way,
Yeah.
that kind of, I'm older now, so I'm not as young and vibrant anymore. So let me just kind of kick back and relax and just really show the good in humanity and the good in us, that kind of thing. So the
Right.
post feels like that, just like Warhorse did, and just like how British Spies did, in my
Right.
opinion.
Yeah. So basically, it's Spotlight, but a little worse than Spotlight, in my opinion,
A
personally.
little worse, but I want to hear why you say a
Right.
little worse. But
Right.
yeah,
All
what's the
right.
story
So
about?
just a quick synopsis on your run through. So what it's about? It's about what the Washington Post
Yes.
having to not blow open the story because I think the New York Times already did it. But just they they more or less corroborating the what you call the Pentagon Papers.
Yes.
Right. So the Pentagon Papers is this really unfortunate kind of massive distrust of the American government. It was something that was leaked, basically showing what really going on in the Vietnam War. How the Vietnam War not going anywhere near as good as they thought it was. They was misleading the American public, blah, 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 blah. And the context of it works because Meryl Streep, I forget her character's name, but her husband, I think, committed suicide.
Yes. She is Catherine Graham.
Right,
Yeah,
Graham.
yeah.
Right.
She was like the
All
first
right.
female
So
publisher of a newspaper. In this case, is the Washington Post. So she
right,
took it
and
from
she had
her.
to take over.
Yeah, she took control of it from her husband.
Right. And they had to basically, the big call was whether or not you put it out or not, because it's so close to the reason why this was different from, say, the New York Times is one, Washington Post are a relatively small paper at the time. Like,
Mm.
we know them as this amazing juggernaut, but this is what put them on the map, essentially.
Yes, which is
Uh,
something I didn't even know about until watching
yeah.
this film.
All right. And in the case of the idea that they were so relatively close to all of those Washington type insiders and whatnot. And that's the working paradigm of it. It just sets itself up as, oh, okay, this is this small paper that's really brave, and what they're gonna do given all this working pressure, from with all the powers that be, especially at the time now. Right, that was a big thing because the relationship between news and politics wasn't as common as was back in the days. Right? Way more common now, but that was a big deal then. So it's all of this for the first time again, this amazing political pressure and whatnot, especially with the Nixon administration, which was like an unprecedented administration.
Right.
Yeah. And that's your working premise, you build from that. And it's just, well, secular sainthood, news people doing the news thing and sticking
Yeah.
it to the man. Much like Spotlight.
Yeah, power of
Powers
the
that
press. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, the powers that be fucking up, and we're gonna stick it to the man. So
yeah.
it has that all the presidents
and
meant.
and it's a sworn duty to let people know the truth. You know what I mean?
Right,
That
right,
kind of.
right, and it had that all the presidents men vibe to a certain extent.
Yeah, good thing you mentioned that because we'll bring it back up a little bit later. But continue.
Yeah, and but I say it's like Spotlight. It pretty much like Spotlight. If you've seen Spotlight, you've seen this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Have that
And
same.
to this day, like I still don't understand how that movie won Best Picture. You know? I still don't know.
I was actually
that
rooting
was
for it. You remember, I
favoritism.
was rooting for it. You could probably go back in the episode.
But there was so much better
I was
than that,
surprised.
man. Come on. I think that shocked a lot of people. I'll never forget when Morgan Freeman said it, and he was like, "Spotlight," like almost like
Yeah.
he asked Chris, like, "What?"
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody was
I
rooting
I was a
for.
bit
Everybody
shocked,
was,
but I was rooting for it.
everybody was rooting for Revenant, like
I was
Revenant,
rooting.
Revenant.
Not
And
Revenant.
then,
Revenant didn't come out the same year.
I think it did, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
Yeah,
I forget.
because there was Birdman, and then the year after that, everybody thought, Inaratu gonna win for sure with this one here with Revenant, and then
Okay, right.
people
Okay.
hear Spotlight.
But
Like,
Leo won, eh?
What?
But Leo won.
Yes, Leo won.
All right.
Yeah.
So Leo won first thing.
And
Yeah, I
won
look
Best
back-
Director and things. So it's like, well, yeah, it wins some awards, but still, I wanted it personally to win Best Director, and then I heard Spotlight. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, continue.
Right. So so they put a nice little working context of things. Tom Hanks I thought was solid. Not going beyond above and beyond Tom Hanks Call of Duty, but
Yes,
still
yes.
good.
Yeah.
Meryl Streep again, another one, pretty solid, but again not going above and beyond the Call of Duty of Meryl Streep.
No.
So it's one of those things that when you tell me that, well, Meryl Streep real good in this, is like, well, so it's that
That's
kind
the
of thing.
Yes.
Right. So that you're not that impressed with it in that sense.
Yeah.
But still, this is solid business for me overall. But anyway, that's my early first take. I want to go ahead.
All right. Okay. Well, this one is a little tricky to talk about because for one thing, similar to Darkest Hour, and Sumi, I'm straight at it, right? But I didn't really know anything about the history, what's being told here in this story. So,
Right.
like I heard about the Pentagon Papers before. I heard about where it all leads up to and all that kind of stuff. And I love how they kind of tie that into the very end. I mean, there's not a big twist ending or everything like that, but it's a nice little follow up to a nice little lead in, I should say, to all the president's men. I was like, oh, okay, that was clever. I like that, right?
Right.
But yeah, I didn't really know anything about this, so I went in and yeah, I kind of wish that I knew stuff though. I wish I knew the history behind it, because then I could say, okay, I know who Bob Odenkirk is playing. I know who Tom Hanks is supposed to be, or Meryl Streep is supposed to be.
Right.
I just had to learn from just from dialogue and what characters are saying and do it. And for me, it took a while, but I felt that the first act kind of ran a bit slow, because at first I was telling myself, okay, is this about the newspaper itself, or is this about the secrets, because basically, well, with the Pentagon Papers, just basically about these government secrets, basically that the U.S. government were involved in the war, in the Vietnam War, in a lot of ways. Uh,
Well, no, right. What it was is just the reality of the war. So it's
yeah,
just a bunch of shit
exactly.
that came out that
Yeah,
they say the war was going good, it wasn't going good.
yeah,
They did a bunch of like really disturbing war crimes
yeah,
in
and
Vietnam. So
the overall point of it is
Agent
that
Orange.
yeah, and the overall point is just that a lot of American soldiers went there to die, and there
Yeah,
was
pretty much.
like
It was like a
literally no
big
need for
graveyard in
that.
that way. It was because it was pretty goddamn brutal.
Yeah. So, I was just kind of learning all this stuff, like, like right there, and like, wow, I didn't know all this kind of stuff there. But I still
Right.
felt
So
that I should have had some sense of knowledge of what went down there. Then I could be like, oh, okay, now I see what the big deal is. Because that's another thing. Because, and I really have to be honest, I have to speak from it as a non-American. I felt that uh, maybe if I was American, and because this movie came out and just this era now with with the Trump administration and everything,
right.
this movie would have resonated a lot more with me. But I looked at it, I was like, okay, well, this is just yet another Spielberg film. But unlike Bridge of Spies, on the other hand, which I would say I really enjoyed way more because that was set during the Cold War actually.
Yeah.
This one didn't really grip me as emotionally or thematically as I expected to. Because I mean, it's
Right.
Spielberg,
So
right? So you know it
so
going to.
that point is like, yeah, it feel like a political timing movie. Um.
Yeah.
So, but that was not a
I
big
mean, maybe if
problem
I
for
was
me
like
with this.
real keen on it,
Right.
real keen on it, I should say, I would have, yeah, this would have really stood out to me way more. But to me, it was just like, oh, well, yeah, this is just a moment in history that kind of matters to Americans and not to everybody else,
Right,
really.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
one of those, well, we're not supposed to trust the government kind of thing. That was the first time they really got that in a public sense now. So and it totally fed into the whole counterculture movement, hippie counterculture movement for the 60s, a
Yes.
lot of that. So all of these baby boomers, they're old now and they're making movies. And they made a movie about this in the time of Trump. So
Yeah.
it kind of supposed to resonate with that crowd,
Yeah.
kind of. Um, but
And I think that reason alone is why people call this movie so relevant and why it's one of the best of the year. Although for me, this would have been another honorable mention for me. This would have made it
yeah.
to a top 10 or even a
Yeah,
top
yeah,
70 in my
I
opinion.
agree. If
Yeah.
you're not the right audience and you're not the right age, I'll say it kind of falls flat, and it fell flat for me.
Yeah.
I'm largely aware of the context of this story. I'm aware of it. I strongly recommend if you want a nice run through of the narrative, Ken Burns Vietnam.
Yeah, which I have.
Yeah,
You mean last year's documentary, right?
yeah, it's great.
Here's the thing.
It's long,
I
but
was
great.
initially planning to watch that for this series, but because of the length of it, because this is way longer than OG in America by far. But I was going to
Yeah, no,
hype
draw
this
long.
up as being the OG in America for 2017. But then I look at the length, I was like, nah, 17 hours or so, nah. And I really didn't have time last year, so I skipped out on that one. But yeah,
Right.
I do mean.
Yeah. So it's reasonably well done in that way. It's yeah, I don't know the material, but it's not a big problem for me.
No, no,
Um,
no, and that is in credit to Spielberg's direction, and the story, and of course the performances. Right, once again, it's not one of those movies that had to hold your hand and tell you XXX happened so. I mean, you only get like which was pretty interesting. You only got like the expository title cards at the very beginning, but you don't get any at the end. Like you don't see any. Oh, well, these characters grew up and they got older and they died at
nah,
age
yeah, you
this.
don't need that.
It just kind of stops at that one moment, and I thought that was really brave though for like a Spielberg movie, because that last shot alone implies that you have to know what happened after that moment, and if you watch All the President's Men, you'll be like, or if you know the story behind that, you'll be like, okay, I see where they get at.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I thought, well, directed wise, I mean, Spielberg does this thing. I wasn't blown away by a majority of, I mean, director wise, it is what it is. That's not knocking him down or anything like that. But I mean, Spielberg is just such a great director. You don't have to be doubtful, of his direction. He's always gonna bring it here. I love. There were a couple of like great camera movement moments as well. Some stuff that because you study performances, you wouldn't really study them. But to me, they stood out a lot. I love how creative they were. Um, Acting wise, well, I mean Meryl Streep is great, of course. The same thing with Tom Hanks. There's even like this like the first time they meet each other at this restaurant, sorry. And it's so this is this blatant long take, and I just watch this like, wow, boy, like these characters just so dread. They just have them. The camera is just on them for like 2 minutes straight, and they just spitting out these lines, just like wow, dread. But you know, you just need like another reminder of how great they are, how talented they are. But I wouldn't say that their performances really blew me away, unfortunately. But still, it's just like, well, you know, Tom Hanks is gonna bring it. You know, Meryl Streep is gonna bring it. But the supporting cast as well, I thought were pretty good as well. All that fine. Some actors were underplayed more than others. Case in point, Sarah Paulson.
Yeah,
Love Sarah
a
Paulson,
big
right?
star.
But she was playing Tom Hanks's wife, and like you have a couple of moments where she's like talking and stuff like that, but I felt like she was literally in the background. Like there's a scene where the Washington Post team are scrambling trying to put the pages of the Pentagon papers together, and she's just literally in the kitchen just watching everything. Like, and then she brings some sandwiches. Would you like some sandwiches? I'm like, but Sarah Paulson, no, come on, bring it. I thought
Right.
that Bob Odenkirk got a chance to shine. Well, he got a few moments to shine, though. I'm really glad of that. He was like my third favorite character. Well, sorry, second favorite character in this film here. Alison Brie, I didn't even expect her to be in this, but she had a really nice moment with Meryl Streep. Well, she was basically playing her daughter. And the other characters as well, you know, were great. I did not expect Jesse Plemons to be in this. When I saw, I was like, wait, what? Wait. Where all these like TV actors showing up out of the blue,
Yeah, yeah,
boy?
yeah.
But
We call she Carrie Coon from The Leftovers, wasn't it? So like, oh,
yeah,
hi.
and you know, just for them to be in a Steven Spielberg movie, I think was just like, you know, just like a rare opportunity in their lives, and I just felt they just jumped at the moment. It's like, yes, we will commit to this movie, even though we might get 2 minutes of screen time, whatever. We in a
Yeah,
Steven Spielberg movie, and yeah, they do stand out. Like I say, it's just more people stand out than others. The narrative as well was well handled, even though I felt the first act was a little slow, because at first I was telling myself, okay, is this about the inner workings of this newspaper? Because that was interesting. Is it about the war? Is it about these Pentagon papers? Because that is interesting. But is when, you know, the whole shenanigans went down with the New York Times. That's when the story really picked up. I was like, oh, so that is what the story is about. Because once again, I went in blind. I didn't even see any trailers for it. I just saw little snippets and heard how
right.
great and how Oscar baitish it was, and that's all. Um, the subject of Oscar bait, I would see why people would call it Oscar baity because, well, once again, you're bringing the heavy hitter, you're bringing John Williams to score. You have the cinematographer, I forget the Janusz Kaminski. He does like a ton of Spielberg movies. So you know, just the style of it, how it looks, how it's shot, how it's acted, and stuff like that. You know, you have that one moment where the camera kind of zero in on one character, and they're doing this great speech or something so profound and all that kind of thing. Is like the movie kind of stops for you to be like, yes, I must revel in this moment. I must,
Yeah.
you know, dig into it and feel that warmth and feel that emotion there. And there are a few moments like that, especially with one speech involving with Meryl Streep and Alison Brie, where it's like her kind of talking about how she's been, you know, just basically her being a woman in the business of newspapers, you know, and how she has been looked down upon and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was a cool moment, but to me, it was just like, well, it's Meryl Streep just doing Meryl Streep. You know what I mean? It was like, this is a moment I'm going to walk out to the film and be like, yes, I'll always remember that. So, yes, it does have this kind of Oscar beatish kind of feel to it, but I would disagree with people who would think that the whole thing is like that. You know what I mean? It's just Spielberg doing his own thing. By now, he could kind of, I don't want to say he could do these things in the sleep, sorry, but when's the last time you saw like a really terrible movie from Steven Spielberg in the 2010s? Like,
Cutting the closest I'll say is probably like I don't really feel friendly with this big friendly giant.
or you know, or BFG. You know, I still haven't seen that one. You know,
I was a
I don't
big
know
fan
why.
of that, but it's
Just
not bad, eh? It's not like that
yeah,
bad, but I was underwhelmed by it.
right. It just never hit me. You know. But
Yeah,
I mean, if you saw like Warhorse and Lincoln and especially Bridge of
right.
Spies, you'll know what to expect with this one, right? It is what it is. Like I say, it's one of those kind of Sunday afternoon, you have your big plate of food, you kick back, you relax. I just want to feel the movie. You don't want to be bombarded by a set of violence and cussing and stuff like that. It's one of
Right.
those kind of shows. You don't really think about this. It's like it's a grown folks movie, right? That's the best way to describe it. Similar to like what like the kind of movies Clint Eastwood doing right now. And on the subject of that, he has a movie coming up. I think it's called the 1517 to Paris.
Right.
It's literally last week. Last week, while I was waiting for Darkest Hour to start, that I learned that he directed that movie.
Right.
I did not know that, I just saw a post. I was like, oh, okay, well, I have no clue what it is. I really thought that man stopped directing, because of his age, I did not know that man still making movies, but I'm like, wow. Even if the movie sucks, you have to admit, you have to praise this man's dedication, though, this man's work ethic, but he's like
Yeah.
what, like late 80s, whatever it is, and he's still making movies, right? I don't know if Spielberg is gonna follow that same trend as well, but yeah, he is old and he is making more grown up kind of movies as well. So yeah, it's one of those type of movies. So if you enjoyed Lincoln and Bridge of Spies, then you will totally enjoy this one. If you want more flashiness, if you want more excitement and thrillers, well, sorry, more suspense basically, because it is a political thriller, right? But to me, I've really felt the thriller vibe though, like in parts, in segments, not throughout the movie. Like it wasn't like had me biting my nails or whatever like that. It just was like a normal drama. It felt like that to me, you know.
Yeah.
But in no way would I say it's a bad thing. I mean, at the end of the day, it is Steven Spielberg doing what Steven Spielberg does. If you can accept that, then you'll enjoy it. But if you're looking for something more, if you want to be like, spellbound and be like, yes, this is another masterpiece, then you'll be kind of disappointed with this one, to be honest. And while I wasn't disappointed by it, I thought it was fine, it was decent. I learned a lot from it, some stuff that I didn't even know about. It is American history. Uh, I would say that I came out of it really feeling it though. Like I saw it, it was there, but I wasn't really captivated by it, or I was engrossed by it. I was intrigued by it, but I didn't walk out of it like, yeah, but I felt that one, but this one hit me my guts, this one hit me my heart. It was just like, yeah, it's another Steven Spielberg movie. You kind of know the formula by now. I don't want to call it a formula, but does he would have in my head, but it is what it is. So take it or leave it. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
But
This was solid for me, but it fell flat. I
yeah,
thought it would have been much more exciting and engrossing.
yeah.
Like say this movie, like Bridge of Spies.
Yes,
Bridge
yes,
of Spies
yes.
had a
Like,
workable arc and totally worked. This was like, well, it's Spielberg. It really felt like Spielberg doing Spotlight all over again. It really felt like that.
yeah.
And while Spotlight worked because the material is more relevant in terms of time, and
Yes,
I
yes.
thought Spotlight was kind of out of time in terms of the dating of the material now, like what they're talking about. It's
Yeah,
like, oh, we don't talk about that like 10 years before. This was.
yeah.
And, the idea that, well, it mattered in the modern context because of Donald Trump is like, well, not really.
Not really.
Uh,
That's the thing.
like, yeah, it has a
Yeah,
few parallels, but it really fit the way you think it fits.
yeah.
Uh,
Like I get the whole idea of the power of the media and how the government might want to fight down the media, but
right.
yeah, in terms of like I get the historical comparison and whatnot, but I don't think it'll help in terms of this movie's longevity. Like I have a feeling people might forget this movie in like
Right.
the next 5 years. Will be like, oh yeah, there was that one show, right? Oh yeah, there was nominated for Best Picture, but it didn't win. And I'll just say this before we get to rate it: if this show happened to win by Best Picture, wow, that would be like an even
Yeah,
bigger
that'll be kind
disappointment than
I'll
that
give you some
Spotlight by
bullshit
far,
if it, but
by far.
again, I've seen almost all but this was, yeah, I can't really give it to this. Sorry.
Yeah. So for me, I would give this decent 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Right.
See, I mean, it's worth checking out though, especially if you like
It's
if,
fine.
if you
Yeah.
if you like the old grown folks Spielberg movies, but if you just want like if you're expecting this thing to be just mind blowing and such an epic movie, then you're not gonna get that. You might as well just wait a few months until Ready Player One comes out, or you might go back to his older stuff like Schindler's List or Saving
Okay.
Private Ryan. But to me, it is what it is. I can't really complain too much. I mean, I wish they could have been I wish they could have really engaged me a lot more. I wish I went in with more knowledge, but yeah, it was what it was, man. So take it or leave it. So what was
Yeah.
your?
Yeah, I myself, I want to think about it. I give it like a low movie tongue. Um, it's good, but I'll say the biggest crime is that it fell flat. That's the problem. Is that it went through the motions. It did spotlight what we got a couple of years ago, and I didn't really feel any better or more interesting than that. And it's nowhere near as relevant as thinks it is.
Yeah,
And that's my big crime with it. It's not bad. It's solid film, fine.
yeah.
But I couldn't. It didn't, again, much like with Chipper, what it didn't rope me in the way I thought it could have roped me.
Mhm.
I suppose.
Yeah. But
Right.
I do have to applaud. I do have to give the man credit, Jed, for working on this thing right after something like Ready Player One. So it just really shows how talented and just how great of a filmmaker he is, though. But I'm not saying this is one of his worst films, but I don't know. I just felt that maybe this is something that he could have taken a little bit more time and really develop it and really make it work
Yeah,
instead
it's
of trying
it's
to
it's
rush this thing for
no
the awards.
yeah, it's no Bridge of Spies, it's no Munich. Um, where Spielberg does is, you get a nice darker tone from him, given history,
Yeah,
Uh, but it's still okay. I mean,
yeah.
I
It's
can't.
it's okay.
It's not even
It's
close
okay.
to Munich. Munich was brilliant for me.
Yeah. All right. So, Ricardo, where can we find you online, man?
Passat, RMEDDY, that is at RMedi on Twitter. And then you could find me, just type in Ricardo Medina on Facebook, and you can find me right there.
All right. On Twitter, you could find me if you look for Legally Black MJB, MJB and capital letters. You could also find me on Facebook. Just look for my name, Machi Bailey, alongside a Legally Black blog, official fan base, where you find a link to this podcast here, as well as the others that we've done before. And if you haven't already, please check out my our collaborative look at the Academy Awards Annie Razzie nominations for this year. With Wayne S. Rock and Samali Polanyi and Julian Neves. So check that out and feel free to let us know what you thought about these Oscar nominees that we mentioned here. Do you think they're gonna win anything during the awards, or you think they're gonna? I was gonna say snub, but do you think they're not gonna win anything at all? They're just
Good.
there as placeholders basically, but they're not gonna win anything for sure. So feel free to comment below and let me know. All
All
right.
right.
So in closing, stuff to look forward to. Well, theatrically, Wednesday, at the time of this recorded, we're supposed to be getting the theatrical release of Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. This
Lovely.
was like one of the first reviews that I did for the year. You can check out the review for that. Also, on Valentine's Day, which will be Ash Wednesday, we're supposed to be getting the ending, boy, of that horrible
Yeah.
trilogy, of that 50 Shades trilogy that I
Yeah, the
hate so
bullshit.
much. 50 Shades Freed.
Right.
I do even want to know why it's called Freed, but
Uh-huh.
anyway, that same 1517 to Paris that I mentioned before. Now that I
Yeah.
saw the trailer for it, and now that I know it's directed by
It is good, yeah.
Clint Eastwood,
Yeah.
now I want to see it. Now I'm curious to see how it is. If the reviews are kind of like, well, the show kind of meh, however it is, I probably won't go. But I'm
Well,
really curious to see because I
it's
love Clint Eastwood
relatively
movies.
a relatively conservative director doing talking about a relatively conservative topic, because it's about, I think, basically some Muslim guys who did the stabbing, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Right.
But I hope that
So
we don't get another American sniper where,
that
like,
is what I'm
yeah,
worried about.
I know I see where he was getting at. Once again, this sort of Americana kind of thing, but once again, it's like a little too old, a little too irrelevant now in today's times, and a little pretentious. So I hope that we don't get that with this movie here. Of course, we are getting Black Panther the week afterwards. Excited to see
Right.
that. We're definitely going to see it at IMAX. And
Yeah.
quite ironically enough, we get The Shape of Water the same day. So
Right.
this movie probably going to last probably a week in CC8. I know that for sure. Also, for other stuff, I see we get Death Wish, which was that movie that was pushed back
Right.
because of, I think it was because of that shooting, well, the Texas shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pushed that back. Of course, that's Eli Roth's take on the classic 1974 revenge drama of the same year.
I don't know. I can't remember if we talk about the trailer. My problem was the idea of Bruce Willis being seen as a nobody. Like, one of the reasons why the original Death Wish worked is because the guy is not an action star,
Yeah, exactly. He was
and
just
Bruce
a
Willis
guy.
is a known action star. So they
Yeah.
could have cast somebody else, somebody like Tom Hanks would have worked, or somebody like that. Now, where, oh shit, this older guy fucking things up, but Bruce Willis already is kick a lot of ass. Like, we know him for that. So
Yeah, we know
whatever.
that, yeah. But I
Yeah,
just
whatever.
worry with Eli Roth's take on it, though, because Eli Roth, I know he's going to amp up all the brutality and the violence up to like 11, but I think that's going to really hurt the core of the film, though, because just with the original film now, it was about revenge. You understand the guy's motivation, but it was also the idea of being a vigilante during that period. So I just have a feeling that he will just play up the violence way too much and lose the point of it. And I kind of don't want that movie to play along that line, but I have a feeling because it's Eli Roth, we're going to get that anyway.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Whatever.
we'll see. All right, so that's pretty much about it. So once again, guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever you listen to this. This was Matthew Bailey
Ricardo Medino.
and we are signing off from another episode of BSB to Bailey. So until the next one, take care. Peace.
Yeah. All right.